All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, welcome on in, everybody. NorCal Sports Network. Golden State Warriors, back-to-back road wins, 2-0 in the Jimmy Butler era. And I kind of like what I'm seeing, and we'll get into this. First, let's thank our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin. Check them out for any of your legal needs. Maybe it's a personal injury situation you've got. You got the bender and your neck's bothering you. I don't know. Whatever it could be. Maybe it's a family member. Give Chapman Law Group a call, 415-613-9483. Let them know NorCal Sports Network sent you. All right, the band is really pumped tonight, guys. Listen to these guys rock. Here we go. All right. Most big time win. Even though Giannis was out, you got to win. You got to play who's in front of you on your schedule. And you can't help who's out and who's not. And to me, and I want to get your take on this, we'll be joined shortly by Big Frank Red. He'll be coming in. Is this team with Jimmy Butler, I know it's only 2 games, with Kuminga coming back after the All-Star break, can this team win an NBA championship this year?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm always be me. I'm always be real. I'm not going to get caught up in overreactions, underreactions. I'm going to always try to stay level. It's 2 games. Kuminga coming back is going to be interesting to see how he mixes in chemistry-wise with Jimmy. They're definitely a better team, just for the fact of the matter that, like I said on our last show with the Warriors, that you just got a guy that can get to the line, stop those streaks that are going against you, those runs where other teams are putting together. And he's a high IQ basketball player. He will hold other people accountable. He'll get people in the right position, even though he doesn't know the offense. He knows the game. No matter what sets or what offense or, what you do, he knows the fundamental way to play basketball the right way. And that makes the overall team have a higher IQ. So, yeah, they're gonna definitely do a little bit of damage. I still think they're gonna have trouble with bigger teams, but let's see. It'll be fun to see.
Yeah, no Giannis tonight. Giannis is out till after the All-Star break. He won't even be playing in the All-Star game, senior. So, I mean, I think it would probably been a different outcome possibly if Giannis is in that game, but you do what you got to do. I do think Jimmy Butler has changed the focus of this team to go inside. Without Jimmy Butler, they're lost. They're not even I don't even think they didn't make that trade for Jimmy Butler. I don't think they make the play, and maybe they do with Dallas being with AD hurt, but they're 10th at best without Jimmy Butler because they can't get inside. All as they do is freaking throw up shots and shot after shot after shot after shot. And it's like Jimmy just goes down and he's got the reputation. He's strong as an ox, man. The dude is powerful. And he just, you can tell just, I don't know, you can just tell by the way certain guys carry themselves that they mean business. And
he's a confident player. He's a confident human being, just the way he struts and walks. And, you need that. He gives the Warriors another guy besides Draymond that has edge, is not afraid to bark at the other team. So, yeah, that's something that doesn't show up necessarily in the stat sheet, but it's just something that's there and you feel it. And you see it in 2 games so far.
Yeah. Speaking of the stat sheet, I want to talk about this Eldon Post. This guy is an enigma. I mean, he's like Jekyll and Hyde for me, because when he's on defense, I'm just like, no, don't go near him. He's just going to foul somebody or he's going to give up a hoop. One time, Damian Lillard took it down low and he was in there and he just got pushed back underneath the basket and Damon just laid it up right over him. I'm like, Damon wasn't even taking off, like on a drive and jumping. He was underneath the hoop and Damon just laid it up. I'm like, dude, you have no defensive skills whatsoever, but your stroke from 3-point range is like out of this world at times. I mean, what do you make of this? I want to call him. I know a guy named Eldon, but his same last name, but Quinten Post. What's your thoughts on this guy?
I mean, when the Warriors took him, I quickly kind of went to the video and watched him in college, and I saw that he had a nice touch from the perimeter, and I'm like, okay, another NBA big man that can shoot from the outside. I was looking for him to do big men type of work, which is, protect the rim, rebound, score inside. Well, he can't really protect the rim yet because he's not, I think, strong enough. I mean, he's a big dude, but just because you're a big dude doesn't mean you're strong. I think an off season in the weight room will do him well. He scores a little bit down on the block. I've seen him when he gets the ball down there. He's, decent. He's got a little jump hook and turn around. He rebounds pretty decently. So, bottom line is we all have been clamoring and begging for the Warriors to get a little bit bigger. And is he a dominant big man? No. Is he a good big man? I wouldn't say that yet. The word I use for him is solid. He's solid. He gives them a dimension and he gives them something that they just don't have as of yet. It's unfortunate because I like TJD as well. And he seems to be, losing minutes now because of it. So Kerr's going to rotate them, I think, and see who's got the hot hand, as is always the case with this roster. Go with the hot hand.
Yeah.
I like but I'm sorry, Dan, one final point. I like the fact that now in the last few games that a second round, 52nd overall pick has the gonads and has the balls to shoot 3-pointers when the game is still in question. With Steph Curry on the floor, like that takes confidence. And I like confidence in a basketball player for sure. Yeah.
It was a big night for some former guys. I mean, Pods is from the state of Wisconsin. So is Looney, and Jimmy Butler went to Marquette. So 3 Warriors. And I noticed after the game, just looking at the TV set, a lot of people hang around for Steph. I think this team, I'm going to say this, and I want to get your take on it. When Frank comes in, we'll ask him. I think Jimmy Butler is a better fit for the Warriors than KD coming back.
That's interesting.
KD's the better player.
He's the better player, but
he's softer. He's softer.
That may not be a bad argument at all. I mean, KD's the Hall of Famer. Jimmy probably will get there as well, but KD on the surface is the taller player, the easier score, better. But I don't even know if KD gets to the line as much as Jimmy, and I don't know. And I don't think he plays as good a defense as Jimmy, and he's definitely not the leader. He's not the leader and holding people accountable as Jimmy. It's funny, but Barkley called KD a guy that will ride the bus but will never drive the bus, which was interesting.
Now, Jimmy will. He's obviously. I think Jimmy, in some ways, in a different way, drives the bus even more than Steph, because he's not as good as Steph. He's not the scorer Steph is in some ways, but he's also, I asked this question the other night. If you're down by 1 point and there's 8 seconds left and you're taking the ball in at half court, who do you want to have the ball? I kind of want Jimmy to have it.
He gets to the line.
He's going to get to the line.
15 times he gets to the line. This is not a big man. This is a wing. that is getting to the line 15 times. Even Steph got to the line 9 times. So it's good to see that, one thing that the Warriors always played and were handicapped against almost in every game was they were always getting outshot in free throws. Always. Because they're just a perimeter team. You're not going to go to the line when you're shooting threes all the time. So if you got a guy that goes to the basket a lot, and it's infectious, he's probably doing this in practice. He's probably talking to them. And in the games when he's on the bench, he's saying, hey, man, don't settle for 3. Go to the basket. So it's infectious. Other guys, I think, are going to start doing this too. And I think as we start looking at the box scores, instead of always looking at shooting percentage and three-pointers and this and that, start looking at how many two-pointers they're shooting more two-pointers than threes and balancing that out and how many times they're going to the free throw line. So that's definitely a benefit.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, Ryan, about Steph. I'm not in any way trying to degrade Steph. He's one of the all-time greats. I'm just thinking 1 point down and you need to get down. You don't need a 3. You need a 2. Steph's probably not going to get the call. Jimmy's going to likely either get the foul call or make the bucket. That's all I'm saying is in a game where you need to get that at least 1 point. But, I can live with Steph too. I mean, you got 2 drivers of the bus, and we welcome in another bus driver, the Big Red. We were just talking about KD and Jimmy Butler and Charles Barkley's comments that. What was it, Lowe's? How'd you? You go ahead and say it because you had it perfect.
Barkley said that KD was a passenger on the bus. He was not necessarily a driver of the bus. And that's a harsh comment. I mean, KD did win 2 finals MVPs, and he carried the Dubs in a lot of those games against Cleveland. So I wouldn't necessarily say that. But to your point, Jimmy brings a different leadership, a different toughness that maybe KD is not quite at that level. KD's definitely the better player. There's no question about that. But
yeah,
I think that's a solid point that Jimmy might be a better fit. And I'll leave it at this. Jimmy wants to be here. I mean, $61 million a year will make you do that. KD didn't want to come here, even getting paid what he did, which is
actually it's only 55. He's only getting 55 and a half.
55. So I want the guy that wants to be here for whatever his reasons are.
Well, I'd like to get Frank's take on this because I'm saying that KD's the better player than Jimmy. There's no doubt about that. KD's a top 10 player possibly when it's all said and done. But I think as a better fit for this team right now, because Steph has to Jimmy's such a dog and he's such a good defender and he's so determined to, take the bull by the horn, so to speak. I think he fits what the Warriors need right. Where KD, I don't know, I want to get your take on it. Would he be a little too soft for this particular team? Not the 17-18 team, but the 24-25 team.
You talking to me? You asking me about this? Yeah. I love KD as a basketball player. He makes the game easy for everybody. And I think the Warriors' margin for error is wider with KD, but you can never underestimate chemistry, connectedness. It's like this. You have a girlfriend. I've never been married, so I can use that scenario. But if you have a girlfriend who you're really, really close with, and there's a fracture, and you make up, you keep a little open space for yourself so you don't allow yourself to get hurt again. And when I look at KD, because he certainly didn't want to come to the Warriors if they had to give up Draymond. He didn't want that backlash. And that, as if Draymond was going to be here, they could have put it together. It probably would have been beautiful because KD loves to play basketball. But that emotional damage that was done is still there. It doesn't mean that you don't forgive, but it's still there. So I think there's something to be said about something that's totally uninhibited, totally fresh and new. And while the Warriors are maybe not as aesthetically imposing or beautiful, it might be the best situation from them in 2025. But KD is clearly a better player.
Oh yeah, and KD, he can shoot the three. He can get to his spot down in the post, and he can post up. He could fade away. He could take it to the rack. Yeah. I mean, KD is. I'm just thinking maybe just the attitude is probably what. And who knows how long we get good Jimmy attitude? Take it while it's there, because you probably got it for the rest of this year and next year. Who knows? The last year of the contract. Here's some irony. And I didn't know this. We don't get a chance to watch Jimmy Butler on a game in and game out basis. To me, he's more Draymond than he is KD. He plays a lot like Draymond. He's like Draymond with a better offensive game. But all of the nuanced plays, he makes them all. He boxes out bigger guys. He's physical. He can pass in the half court. He assesses the defense before he does anything, unlike Buddy Hield. He's a wonderful basketball player. He really is. He's fun to watch. Yeah, he really is. He does, like you said, he assesses things. You could see that his brain, he's looking over the court trying to figure out exactly what he's going to do, and just wait till he really gets comfortable. I mean, he's two games in, he doesn't even know he knows like 3 plays. So wait till he actually gets acclimated with the offense. And then I hope Kerr saw a little bit of it tonight where he actually said, okay, everybody, ISO, get out of the way. Jimmy one side, everybody on the other side. And they let Jimmy, they just screw the offense. Jimmy, take your man. And he did. And I think we'll see more of that as things get, further down the road and when you need those key buckets. But so far, so good. I want to make a point and ask you guys something. We're all Bay Area fans. We're Giants fans. We're Niner fans. We're Warrior fans. But we look at this team and we see the determination of an owner that was hell-bent on getting a star for Steph. And then when Luka got traded, it was like it became like, I don't think the guy probably slept for 72 hours. He was just like, I'm getting somebody and I'm going to get him now. And the Giants have this total opposite approach. And you wonder why you go to the Chase Center and it's sold out. And you got one of the 2 greatest players in the game today playing there. And you got all this enthusiasm and it's just booming, right? And the Giants, they just kind of say, well, we're good. And the place is half empty every night. What's your guys' take on Joe Lacob and ownership in general? When you see an aggressive owner, does that get you more engaged as a fan? And when you see a passive owner, does that kind of turn you off to a team?
Go ahead, Frank.
Well, it's interesting. My take is probably a little outside of the box on this, but I grew up a baseball fan because I saw players that looked like me that I could identify with. And they were not always like deacons in churches, watching Pete Rose, run like he did, dive into players, look at Dave Parker, George Foster with the sideburns, Barry Bonds being Barry Bonds. And let's be honest. The Giants have very much a pedestrian, apple pie, American, you might even say white culture. And, it's very successful for them. They won 3 World Series. This is great. But the level of diversity that I love about sports, I went to a Catholic school that had 5 white players and 5 black players. I love that. That's what I loved about the Oakland A's. And these are nonverbal messages. You don't have to come out and say that. But Joe Lacob understands it. Just like the Philadelphia Eagles, they understand it. Howie Roseman, how he drafts. The kid Desheen he got from Iowa. Cooper Desheen. That dude's a baller. The white boy from Iowa that fits perfectly in Philly, like hand in glove, because they get the culture. The Warriors understand that, you know what? We got to have some bad boys on this team. I don't get that from the Giants. And I've covered the Giants, and they were just so professional, so nice. They do a great job. But culturally, they don't get the heartbeat of baseball fans. They have their fans, but they keep a lot of people away because they're scared to delve into that diversity pool. And I think they need to do that, man. It would help that franchise tenfold.
Good take. Good take. What's your thoughts on that, Los?
Well, it's funny looking at the landscape of the Bay Area and living there as long as we have and seeing all the different organizations. There's always a debate. Is the Bay Area, is San Francisco more a football town? Is it more a baseball town? And basketball was just kind of always like eliminated. They never included them. It was always baseball or football. I don't know. I've seen the Giants struggle, and I've seen the stadium, pretty empty, Candlestick and Oracle. I've seen the 49ers struggle, and I've seen the stadium half empty. I don't think I've ever seen the Warriors arena empty, even in Franklin Muley's days, who was not a very good owner from the business point of view. And the Warriors were the laughing stock of the league year after year after year. And Warrior fans kept going to the games because they were the only game in town. The Niners had to share, the area with the Raiders. The Giants had to share the area with the A's. The Warriors were our one team. And it brought everybody together, the North Bay, the East Bay, the South Bay, the Peninsula, the city, of course. So, to answer your question, yeah, management, ownership, it starts at the top. When you see an owner that, is not just in it to make a buck and not in it to, fatten their pockets, and they really have a desire to win, a la George Steinbrenner, hell yeah, it's going to want you to go and support that team more. But I think even taking that out of the equation, there's something the Warriors fans, it's an international game as well, too. You go to a Warrior game and you see everything there. You know this, Dan, and Frank, back in the day, you go to a Giants game, you go to 49ers games, it was a little bit more certain demographic that was there more than others, decidedly so. Warrior games, everything. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that's kind of what I've seen in viewing the landscape of the organizations in the Bay.
Let me say this. Like, I don't go to as many games now, but they scan the front row. And I should be in the same health club with a lot of the A's, the Warriors season ticket holders. Let me tell you something. Those guys from 20 years are still season ticket holders for the Warriors. They're in the front row, first and second row. They're clearly successful. They clearly got some dough, but more power to them. I love it because it reminds me of New York. When you go to New York and you look at the smaller bowl of Madison Square Garden, those faces have been there for 30, 40 years. That's loyalty. That's fanship. Those are educated fans. The Warriors have some of the most educated fans in that lower box. I think their fan base has changed.
Yeah.
But they got some loyal fans, man, and I just love those people, man. I do.
And I'll just add one quick thing to that is that I've been to a lot of events up in the Bay Area. I've been to the NFC Championship twice with the Niners. I've been to the World Series with the Giants. Been to some big, big games. I tell you what, honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen as much emotion as Game 1 against Dallas. We believe Warriors in the playoffs, Game 3 at home. I saw grown men crying in the national anthem. Hey, Frank, you know what I'm talking about. I saw. The women are going to be emotional. Hey, that is. I saw grown men, including myself,
right,
that had like watery eyes because it's just like we saw the cameras and like we are on national TV. The whole country is watching us, like the laughing stock of the league for the last 15, 20 years. We are in the playoff game. And I've never been in a louder arena or stadium than Oracle against the Mavericks that series. Lord have mercy. It was something special.
There's a reason they called it Roracle, not Oracle.
Oh, my God. Yes,
and
absolutely.
I want to get your guys' take on this because back in 1970, they moved to Oakland in 71. Prior to that, they were the San Francisco Warriors. They moved to Oakland to play at the Coliseum and changed the name to Golden State Warriors to become more broaden their appeal to the rest of the state. You remember, there was no basketball team in Sacramento. There was one team in LA, and that was it. I think there might have been the San Diego Clippers back then. I think.
Yeah, they were San Diego.
Yeah.
I've always, it's interesting you bring that up. I've always been interested in knowing why they never call themselves the Oakland Warriors. What made the decision to go to Golden State?
They went to Golden State to appeal to represent the entire state of California.
Marketing.
And it's funny because I was 1971. I was turning 10, and I remember seeing, when you're 10, you don't remember everything, but I remember seeing Golden State in the standings of the, when I read the paper, I'm like, is this a new team? What happened to the San Francisco Warriors? And I was just kind of like, I didn't realize that. And I thought it was kind of a temporary thing at first, like, oh, they're trying it out. So my question is, are they going to lock in as the Golden State Warriors? Or do you think after Steph leaves, for some new marketing purpose, they change it back to San Francisco? Could you see that?
I could see that, but I hope they just leave it the same. I just hope they leave it as Golden State. I don't know.
Marketing.
I love those black uniforms with the Golden State that they had on tonight in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they'll ever change, but I think they might try to squeeze in some sneaky little SF logo on the uniform or something. But I don't think that they'll ever change because it was actually it's such a perfect name. And I think when you say the Golden State Warriors, it resonates around the world.
Yeah.
So I think beyond the Bay Area, beyond California, United States, the Golden State Warriors really resonates. You guys talked about, how popular this team is and how fans love them. I can remember like a couple of years ago going to a game. I was going to the Bulls game, another Bulls game. And I struck up a conversation with like 3 or 4 guys who were from Australia, who were like the biggest Warrior fans. And they had flew into the Bay Area to watch a game in the Bay Area. They were going to go to like Milwaukee next and then go to Philly and then go to New York. They were just following the team. And they were just like so excited because they're Warrior fans. That is the reach of this team. Now, Stephen Curry has a lot to do with that. But NBA basketball, probably beyond any other sport, still has a couple of levels to ascend to, especially when you look at like the continent of Africa and some of these. I mean, this game is still rising in spite of what people say about the ratings. It's a beautiful game. It really is.
We actually got a comment here. We'll get you guys to comment on this. Pot's brother, Bora, they have the same hair. Bora would like to know, what did you guys see from Pod today? What was your thoughts on Pods? Go ahead, guys.
He's doing what he always does, which is Pods is the kind of player I hated playing against. He's just annoying as hell. Yeah. Got up in your grill, took charges. You see the charge he took against Lopez? He's giving away about 100+ pounds there, and he got hit flush, got right back up. He's just a gritty, solid player that can beat you or help you win in a lot of different ways. So that's what he does. I'd like to see him maybe shoot a few less threes. I don't think he's the greatest percentage there on that, but I just like his all-around game. He's a solid role player.
Frank, what's your thoughts on him?
I mean, I like smart players, and he's really smart. And I love the fact now that he's sort of understanding that it's pretty cool to be a glue guy on a winner. I don't like him talking to referees and walking around like he's, Paul Westwall in his heyday, that type of stuff. I mean, because you're not that guy. I just like the fact that now he sort of understands that I am a part of something really cool. And I think there are probably some tenuous moments during the trade deadline for him that kind of say, oh, this is big boy basketball. When I was a rookie, nobody really gave a crap. But now people know who I am, and somebody might pluck me. They might demand that I'm a part of a deal or something. I want to be here. So I thought he played fantastic tonight. Less is more personality for me. I love his toughness. I love his intelligence.
Yes, and I want to get your take on, we see Pods playing better. We see Buddy Hield starting to play better.
Buddy is playing better.
What impact do you think with the trade deadline looming? I mean, Buddy was probably talked about in many, many deals in different circles weeks before the trade deadline. You also had other guys that obviously some of them did end up getting traded. But do you think that had an impact on some of these guys? I mean, they are human, right?
Yeah.
I think that's huge. I think no matter the sport, I think, you got to remember they're human beings as well. They got to uproot their families. When you are unknown about whether you're going to stay there with the team or what city you're going to go to, I think that could weigh on you. And yeah, Buddy was probably talked about quite a bit. So yeah, there's a certain level of comfort in knowing you're going to be here and, just focusing back on your game. So yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, tonight the the Sacramento Kings in overtime defeated the Dallas Mavericks by 1. So that makes the Kings 27-26, the Mavs 28-26, all bunched together. In fact, I think what we should probably do is take a look at the standings and see. I think the Warriors might be in 10th. It might help if I go to the NBA standings and not the – okay, here we go. All right, are they updated? Yes. All right, so let me pull this up, and this is going to get very interesting with a lot of teams bunched together here. All right, so we see the loss column is what you really want to look at. Ideally you want to get to 6, but I think 7 is a good spot in because you get two home games to win 1 if you can get the 7 spot. And what I love about the 7 spot is you end up getting the 2nd seed, and if you can have a good matchup that's the 2nd seed and get by that, sometimes the 1st seed can get knocked off because this is a deep West Conference. AD with his injury probably out a good month. Would say he comes back sometime in mid-March. I don't know. Is Dallas going to fall too far back? Is Dallas going to be a team that falls out, or is it Phoenix? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Frank.
What's the question?
What's your thought on who might fall out of this? Which teams?
I'm looking at the Phoenix Suns, and they got problems. I think they got problems. I think Minnesota has problems. Sacramento is very tenuous because of their inability to execute late in the 4th quarter. They're going to play a lot of close games. I think the Warriors are in great shape, to be quite honest with you, because they are ascending. And again, when you get Kuminga back, whatever that is, he's going to be a totally new player. He's like Jimmy Butler. He's like he wasn't on the team because he's been out for so long. I can make the same analogy about Pods. Pods was out. This Pods is a lot different than the first 25, 30 games Pods. Moses Moody is an ascending player. So the Warriors are actually playing good basketball right now. And that doesn't always translate to wins. But their fluidity, their decision-making, their ability to play longer runs and make less mistakes is apparent. So I like where the Warriors are right now. And you mentioned 7. I don't think that 6 and 7 is out of balance for the Warriors at all. I think they're right there.
Can you scroll that up a little bit, Dan? I want to ask both of you something. Yeah, right there. So, in your opinion, fully healthy, let's just say AD is back. Which of those playoff teams would give the Warriors the most problems? I think we talked about it on the last show, but I just want to hear what you guys have to think. Which team do you think would really be difficult for the Warriors to beat in a 7-game series?
I think Dallas.
If
Dallas the most?
Yeah.
I think Dallas and the Clippers.
Yeah, pick a couple teams. Dallas, I agree. Dallas would be one. Who would be the second team? Would it be the Thunder?
I think the Clippers give the Warriors fits. Now they got Ben Simmons. Who's going to guard him at 6'10"?
Yeah, the Clippers are tough. I'm still not the biggest believer in OKC. I'm just not. I mean, because they don't have a diversified style. They just run you off the court. But in the playoff, they're gonna have to really execute in the half court. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is clearly their best player. I know who their second most talented player is, but I don't know who their second best player is in a half court set. Like I look at OKC and I say, is any of those guys better than Jimmy Butler in the half court? Definitively. And I would say no. So in close games, I still question whether or not if you take the ball out of Shai's hands, they have a definitive guy who they can go to. I don't think they have that yet.
You know, the Lakers didn't get their big man from Charlotte, but even without him, they just seem to own the Warriors, man. They always make the right plays in the fourth quarter. So the Warriors got to mentally get over them. And the Warriors, honestly, struggle against the Clippers as well. The two LA teams give them trouble for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's interesting. I see a little bit of fun going on in the chat, a little Kings and Warriors fans going at each other. That's always good. We love that here. 2 NorCal teams going at each other. Should be fun because don't they play one more time or is it 2 more times on the schedule?
Oh, the Kings and the Warriors?
Yeah.
They're going to play twice.
Yeah, should be interesting games. In fact, they play right after the All-Star break in Sacramento. Yeah. So that will be really good. That will be a fun game because it's coming down to, if you look here at the standings, I mean, Phoenix is right now the team that's a half game out, but the Spurs, they got De'Aaron Fox and Wemby, and they could figure a way out. Remember, they've got that, as you brought up, Red, that big rodeo where they're on the road for 2-3 weeks. Once they get off of that, now they got a lot of home games coming up. If you look at their record, they are 13-12 at home, and that's 25, 9-15 on the road, 24. So don't they play a bunch of road games coming up now soon?
You know what the problem is, though? They're not very physical. They're just not.
True.
And it's hard to win against really good teams when you're not physical. And so I think that they're a year away. I think in the offseason, I don't know who that player is, but they're going to target some player who brings a level of physicality to help Wemby. Because De'Aaron Fox is a good player, but Wemby needs a bodyguard. He doesn't have he needs a Charles Oakley type player to really solidify that team. They don't have that.
Right,
they need an enforcer. Who is the best enforcer in basketball history, guys? I say Maurice Lucas.
I was just going to say Mo Lucas, man. You took it out of my hand. You took it right out of the palm of my hand. It was just coming right off like butter, and you took it.
Number one. No doubt about it.
Maurice Lucas.
Come on.
Sorry.
Mo Lucas.
I asked the question and I answered it myself. My bad. I should have let you guys answer.
What are you producing the show now?
All right, man. Go ahead. All you.
All right. Here's a question for you guys. the buyout market's coming. Few good players that might be out there. You talk about enforcers. There's a couple guys that the Warriors might be able to use. I'm thinking Kelly Olynyk, Larry Nance Jr., guys that might get bought out. What do you think of those guys, and which is a better fit of those two? Because I think both of them fit of need for a power, like a 4, a guy that could be an enforcer. And Larry Nance, by the way, is shooting over 44% from 3 this year. So it's pretty crazy. What do you think?
Who's the better defender of the two?
Probably Nance. I think he's got a little bit quicker feet.
I've always kind of liked his game. I would give a slight edge. I don't know if I want another 3-point shooter. I want somebody that brings physicality. You know, the Warriors have won championships with some, guys that do a lot of the dirty work and a lot of the grunt work. So another guy like that, that could give a hard foul in the playoffs and not even think twice about it, sign him up.
I think Nance would fit well with this team with Jimmy Butler now. I think it gives – that's the other thing, and we've talked about this with San Francisco Giants. You're not going to get a star to come if you don't have one already, generally. Someone's got to be – now that you've got – we had Steph, but now you've got that second star, Jimmy, okay? So now someone in the buyout market saying, hey, you know what? I like that team's chances. I think I'll fit in well over there. I think Larry Nance Jr. isn't he like 6'9", 6'10", and he's pretty lengthy?
He's like 6'9". Yeah, 6'8",
Yeah.
6'9". But he's a physical player. He's very physical.
And that's
like
one thing they need.
I like both of them. Kelly Olynyk is probably tougher than I think his reputation would suggest that he is. And he does kind of shoot the 3. But, again, he's another smart player that fits into what the Warriors do. But he's kind of if Quinten Post is real, then I don't want his minutes being diminished when you got Trish Jackson-Davis on the bench. So Larry Nance, Nance is probably a more well-rounded fit for the Warriors, both defensively and offensively. He's athletic. He can jump. He's another good player that you can play 8-9 minutes a game. Maybe he takes away some of Guy Santos's minutes. So I like both of those guys, but Nance probably is a better all-around fit for the Warriors at this point.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Danny.
Sorry, I was reading that. I've been coughing, guys. I got the flu bug, so that's why I'm not trying to let these guys talk more. Bill says, I think Dubs can get to 6 at least, barring no injuries. I agree, Bill. Thanks for that comment and donation. D. Lodi makes a good comment. Kevin Knox, who was drafted by your Knicks, number 9, I think, wasn't it about 6-7 years ago?
Yeah, it was 9.
Yeah, number 9. And he had a couple decent showings when he played for a little bit, but never really, just gotten fully synced there. But he's an NBA player, don't you think?
He's NBA talent. I don't know if he's an NBA player, but he's definitely an NBA talent. I want to see him make it. I think playing this year might not pay dividends for him at the end of this year. But I love the fact that he realized where he was and he went down to the G and he opened some eyes. I think he's probably going to be on the roster next year somewhere, maybe with the Warriors. Who knows?
Yeah, possibly. So Senior, he's our Light the Beam Sacramento resident. He says we're Dubs fans are delusional. What do you think, guys? So I think some can be.
He must be talking about the chat. I know he's not talking about us because none of us are sitting here saying the Warriors are going to win a championship or anything like that. But I would give them the advantage over the Kings. They're definitely, I think, more battle tested. And now with Jimmy, just they got a little bit more of a physical presence. And you just forget Kuminga's coming back. You're going to have another guy that can go to the basket and create contact and create fouls, can play above the rim. So that would be an interesting series, but I would give the Warriors the edge.
Frank, we know that Kuminga's being He's getting advice from his handlers, his agent.
Right.
Does he not come back unless he's 100% plus? I mean, there is not a lingering little. He's 98%. There's a little bit of pain. Does he wait until it's completely healed?
Absolutely. I've been talking about this for 2 or 3 weeks now. And, I mean, is he being unprofessional? I don't think so. Is he trying to game the system? I don't think so. I think this is just one of the outcomes of not paying him. And it's intended or unintended. It is a signal that he and his folks are sending to the Warriors, because if he was my client, I wouldn't let him come back unless he's 100%, because, this is his career. And the Warriors definitively said, we don't want to pay you what you think you're worth right now. Okay. Well, then I got to look out for my own best interest, number one. And then when I come back, play like hell. But no, I mean, I think this is kind of par for the course. I really do, because the numbers are so big and this is his career. And I go back to the story that I said before. Leon Poe, right?
Yeah.
I worked Leon Poe out when he was in high school. Great guy. Unbelievable guy. Hurt his knee initially in an AAU tournament in high school, got it cleaned up, got hurt again at Cal, ultimately became a second-round pick, had a decent little career with the Boston Celtics, came back against the Lakers too early, got hurt again, and that was it. His career was never the same. So as a professional athlete, you have to watch your body and listen to your constituents, because it might not be, some little emotional or egotistical game. They might be looking out for your best interests, and you need to listen, because these contracts are real, and no organization pays players because they like them. That does not happen. They pay you because they think they're going to get a return on their investment.
Yeah, I think Frank or Los made a good point. When he comes back, it's another guy that can get to the hoop, and the Warriors could all of a sudden become this, team that changes its, what it's known for. It's been known for this just three-point shooting, very little get to the bucket this year. And you could see Steph is just getting trapped and double teamed, and he's just dribbling, having to go behind his back, trying to go, looks like he's going to drive, then pulls back for a step back. I mean, he's got to be wearing out, but he looks rejuvenated since Jimmy has come. And when Kuminga comes back, this could open things up really big time for guys like, obviously, Steph, but, Buddy Hield, Moody, if he can continue to knock that down. I would like to see when Kuminga comes back, when he's got that open three, put that ball up and do a rocker step, baby. And when they come to – Jim Barnett taught me the rocker step in camp, and I used it in basketball. It is one of the – I don't know. I don't see too many people use it, but it was a great move. Jim Barnett perfected it. But Kuminga is a guy – you go back like you're going up, and then it's the guy pulls forward. You shoot past him. And this is what Kuminga should be doing. He should just take it to the hoop. Nobody can stop him. And now that you have Jimmy, somebody else is going to be open if two men converge on him. He can just dump it to the, it could be Green coming down the middle of the lane. It could be GP2. It could be Jimmy. It could be a cutter from the wing. There's so much more opportunity when you've got guys like Jimmy and Kuminga that can drive. So what do you expect we see from Kuminga? Do you think that the players, Frank, what you're seeing happen with Jimmy, is he going to have that much of an influence on the rest of the team in driving, or is that just caught? How does that happen in a team environment?
Basketball is easy when you're playing with smart players. So, it's not hard. Kuminga in year 4 is ascending physically and mentally, and he is less prone to play to his ego. He's still not quite there yet, but it's going to be great as far as I'm concerned. I think if he can stay focused, not allow himself to respond to head games as they happen, he's going to be an asset to the Warriors. Again, Jimmy Butler is more Draymond than he is KD. So he makes other players better. Remember that drop pass he threw tonight? He caught the ball at the free throw line. He pivoted, squared his shoulders, and threw an exquisite bounce pass to GP2 or either Post, for a dunk. I don't remember. But it was like, that was a type of play that you just take the air out of the lungs of the defense because it's so simple but so impactful. Jimmy makes 2 or 3 of those plays every game. Kuminga's going to be on the end of some of that stuff.
I want to get Los's thought on Bora's question here. What do you think the starting lineup should be at the end of the season?
I'll answer that in a minute, but let me just say to add to Frank's point about Kuminga and Jimmy's influence. I don't think there is a player on the team, and I don't think it's close, that Jimmy is going to influence more than Kuminga. And I'll tell you why. I said it in the last show a little bit, that he's going to be able to, teach him how to sell fouls when he goes to the basket. A little head movement, a little bit of a shoulder flaying back, sell the foul and get to the line. But the second thing that I think he's really going to help Kuminga at a lot, his problem a lot is he's going too fast.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a rush. He's out of control.
Yep.
The one thing, if you watch Jimmy, he'll go to the basket and he's always in control. He had a play where he stopped like 3 feet. He turned around like he was going to flip it out, which is what the Warriors always do. And Draymond was under the basket and gave him a bounce pass for an easy layup. Those little simple plays. See, it's one thing to play against a guy. Jimmy's played against Kuminga, so he knows what he's like. It's another thing to play with him and see him at practice and see him, doing the things that he does. And he's going to take him under his wing, in my opinion, and Kuminga's going to take off. He's going to get to the line more. He's going to slow down more. He's not going to be settling for, he's still going to take his threes here and there. He's not a bad 3-point player, but his special gift is his athletic ability and his jumping ability to get to the basket and get to the rim. And that's something the Warriors have not had in a long time. But to answer Bora's question, we asked this in the last show, and I think it just varies on the matchup. If they play against a big team, you got to have Post in there. If you're playing a team like you played the last two nights in Chicago and Milwaukee without Giannis, and it's a little bit more of a wing game, then Draymond plays the 5. But I think Kuminga should be in the starting lineup and playing with Jimmy. I don't think he should be coming off the bench.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Bill, a little comedy, says, Dan, hope you were a better shooter than Jim Barnett. Yeah, he shot some, he threw up some bricks, that little one-handed shot that he took bad. Yeah, no, I was a little better outside shot than Jim Barnett, but he could drive. He could drive. But this team, as you look at the landscape around the league, we see Cleveland as probably in Boston, the 2 teams that would be the toughest matchup if the Warriors somehow got to the to the championship, to the finals. But in a conference, we looked at the standings earlier. Frank said he's not really scared too much by OKC, and I get that. I get that. I think the team that you really have to watch out for, possibly in the playoffs, is a team like Denver, who's just kind of sitting there at 3, not really pressing for the top seed, but not going to fall out of the top 4, most likely. The Lakers could move into the 4, but I think the Lakers might struggle when they start playing some bigger teams.
Championship pedigree.
Yeah. Everybody's kind of overlooking Denver and just kind of looking like, they're past the prime. They I never count a guy out like Jokic and Murray, though. And what's your thoughts on Denver, Frank?
If I'm a Denver fan, I'm concerned about their backup point guards. They just don't have, and I mean, Murray has rallied probably the last 15, 20 games. He's playing fairly well, but athleticism is not his superpower. So, I think you can kind of put a guy on him and kind of control him a little bit. They'll go as far as Jokic goes, because Jokic is still, in my opinion, the best player in the league right now. He's capable of going 35 and 20 every game, and that's a problem to deal with. So any team that finds a way to corral him, to keep him between maybe 25 and 30, I think has a good chance to beat Denver, because they're not as good as they were a couple years ago.
Right.
Aaron Gordon, I mean, he's gone through a lot internally with his family. He's coming off an injury. He hasn't been quite as explosive this year. I never worry about a big guy who shoots from the outside. Never. You can always stop a big guy from the outside, just by guarding. That's all you got to do. So Denver is tough. They got the championship medal, but they're not the team that I go, they're going to represent the Western Conference. They're not that team right now. I don't think so.
Hey, guys, while you're watching, Better, our official daily fantasy sponsor of NorCal Sports Network, BETR. Los, want to tell us about your bets yesterday in the Super Bowl? That Los downloaded Better, put in the promo code NCSN, got a deposit match of up to $250 plus a free pick. I don't know how much Los put in, but whatever he put in, he got matched. He put in 2 dimes, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Had to for the Super Bowl for sure.
And you won.
Yeah, I won 2 bets. One a 3-pick and one a 2-pick.
There you go. Just like that. Los, I think, what'd you end up saying you won? 100, 120?
190.
190. Wow.
Yeah, I'll take
there
that.
You go. Our expert, better fantasy player, Los. There you go. I didn't win yesterday. I was fumbling around with it. Wasn't feeling great. And I just said, let me just throw something out there and see.
Football is definitely easier than basketball, though, let me tell you. Basketball's tough.
Okay, so we got Better. Make sure you guys go download Better. We got some good downloads, I think, in the last couple days, because I see that we had 5 or 6. I think it was 4 or 5 sign up in the last couple days. So make sure you go download Better and enjoy, because it's a lot of fun. I want to go to our player of the game, and we'll get out of here. And final thoughts and player of the game. Let's go with you, Frank. What was your player of the game and your final thought for tonight?
I'm gonna go Quinten Post. I think Quinten Post is finding his game, building confidence. He's small enough to bring his girlfriend on the trip. I guess I heard about that.
Yeah,
so
I did hear that.
So she made him feel comfortable. He went out there and made 4 or 5 threes. I love a great story, man. I love a great story. He is playing to his strengths and not his weaknesses. He's not a very strong post defender, but he shoots the hell out the ball, and he's making shots, and he's helping the Warriors spread the floor. And as a result, they won a couple of games that, when you looked at before they played them, Chicago and Milwaukee, they could have had a couple of L's, but they're wins. So Quinten Post is my guy for player of the game.
Los?
Yeah, I kind of like Moody's game tonight. I was a little on him last game because, like me and Frank were talking about, he can get a little lazy defensively and not think. And I think he kind of slowed it down a little bit, and he played a little bit under more control. So, but that's what Moses gives you. He's a little inconsistent right now. He gives you, a good game and then 2 bad ones and then 3 good ones. He just needs to be. And of course, I understand it. He needs consistent minutes to put up consistent performance. But I like what he showed tonight. One final thought, though, I have to mention this is Jimmy Butler had a drive on the baseline, and I smiled because that was one of my go-to moves. One of my coaches always told me that when you drive baseline and a big man is there to block, jump into him. Mm-hmm. Back into him and kind of move him out so he cannot block the shot and get an and one. So Jimmy went baseline, and it wasn't Lopez, but it was a big dude that went up. Jimmy kind of dove back into him, shielded him with his body and laid it up with the and one.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see him teach Kuminga, because Kuminga will try to like throw it down. Sometimes you just need to do a little finesse layup, but use that big body that you have to jump into people and take away their blocking, capabilities. So that's what I'm excited to see.
So you guys going to leave me with the T-ball again for the
Hey,
play of the game?
You said we had to cater to the host, so there you go.
I mean, I could pick. I mean, Steph's out there 38. I mean, it wasn't like super efficient from three, but it was respectable. He was 6 for 16, and he missed. He missed one free throw. It was Jimmy that missed 3. I'll tell you, Steph definitely played well. I kind of a guy who doesn't show up great in the stats with points, and he didn't look good shooting. But Pods had 9 rebounds tonight, plus he took some really good defensive positions. But if I had to pick one, I think Jimmy was kind of the key, because defensively he started getting steals, started getting in the passing lanes, he started trapping, they started going on runs. And, Jimmy just really changed the whole dynamic of the team. I don't think they win this game tonight without Jimmy Butler. I really don't.
I think when it comes to player of the game, I think we need to just eliminate Steph from the equation. It's just the cheat. It's just the cheat. It's just the cheat code. It's just the cheat code, man. I mean, it's like that's too easy. Nobody can pick him. That's way too easy. Oh, Steph scored 52 the game. Who's the player of the game? Let me think.
Yeah.
No, we got to pick these other guys that help in other ways to win the game.
Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow night, guys. Giants. We'll do a little Giants talk. Warriors have a game Wednesday and Thursday back to back. Who are they playing Wednesday? I think they play Houston Thursday. Who do they play Wednesday?
Dallas.
Oh, they're catching Dallas and Milwaukee at good times. Giannis down, AD down.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I want Warrior fans. I know we always get this adrenaline when a new guy comes in and the team looks good and it looks energized. They played Milwaukee without Giannis. They're going to play Dallas without AD. They could very well win those games. I want people to keep expectations, right here. Like, we're excited, we're good, but don't go too crazy. I mean, this team has got to learn to gel a little bit more together, install JK into the equation. And I want to see them play a fully healthy big man team and see how they do. That will tell me if they're serious about a deep run or not.
There's Deloading's starting lineup: Curry, Moody, Butler, Kuminga, Green. That is a space them out, quick defensive team, but small. That's pretty small.
Yeah.
That could work against some teams. I don't think that could work against some of the bigger teams. You get run out of the gym against Cleveland playing that lineup.
If they're up 8 in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes to go, I like that lineup though.
Yeah. I've been saying all year long, a lot of people didn't like Moody. I really like Moody. I just thought he needed to play. It's kind of like Elliot Ramos. I just said, let the guy play. He's got talent. Part of playing well is getting into a rhythm. You can't just go out there and play 3-4 minutes and then make a mistake and you're banished to the end of the bench for the night. I mean, that is.
I've always liked Moody.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, that was a Kerr problem. That was not a Moody problem. That was a Kerr problem. And it's just like, okay, so now Moses Moody has kind of won him over, and Kerr trusts him. But why did he trust Pod so fast and he didn't trust Moody? I mean, because it is about rhythm. It's about your coach believing in you. And we talked about Moody's deficiencies. Guess what? Like you said, Los, he played better tonight because he was able to learn from his mistakes.
Right.
He's making more defensive plays. He's playing physically. How many times his first 2 years when he had space in front of him, he would chuck a three-pointer, miss, and it's like a turnover. Now, if there's any daylight in front of Moody and there's no defender, he's attacking the defense and he's making that shot by leading with his left shoulder, making an and one, getting fouled. He's thinking the game. He looked like a legitimate player.
Yeah, agree.
You know?
Hey, Danny, since we have Frank on the show, I always like to have one segment with Frank about old school because I love his opinions about old school. So, and this is for you as well. How good would Len Bias have been as a pro? I loved his game, man.
You know,
go ahead.
You know, I got a Len Bias story.
Okay, I want to hear it.
I think I'm like a freshman or something like that. Freshman, sophomore. We're in Maui. This tournament is what's the kid? Who's the point guard at Cleveland right now? Not Mitchell.
Garland?
Garland. Okay.
Darius Garland? Yeah.
Okay. I think Darius Garland's dad was on like Southeast Missouri or something like that. I think they
Winston?
were Winston Garland. Yeah. They were playing. It was Southwest Missouri, whatever it was, Fordham, Hawaii, Maui, Hilo, something like that, and Maryland.
My brother went to Hilo. Steve.
And Maryland. And listen, I saw Len Bias play, right?
Oh.
And dude was 6'8" with a 40-inch vertical.
I know.
And a beautiful jump shot. A beautiful jump shot. The only thing that he couldn't do exceptionally well was dribble.
Yep.
He couldn't dribble all that well. He wasn't a horrible dribbler, but kind of like in the Xavier McDaniels vein. But he was smart. He was going to play with Larry Bird. This dude would have been a Hall of Famer. And he was tough. I'm talking about not fake tough. I'm talking about one of the toughest guys in college. He outplayed Michael Jordan in the ACC playoffs. Outplayed him. He was MVP.
I know. He's one of my favorite college players. Yeah, it's one of the saddest stories and things I've seen.
Yeah.
The 86 Celtics are one of the best teams of all time. And Bias was drafted that year.
Yes.
Bias was gonna go to that team, which was already great. Holy. I mean, you want to talk about what if, like the Lakers. Wow. I don't think the Pistons have their run if Len Bias is on that Celtics team to pass the torch.
Let me tell you this. It's crazy. It's like yesterday. After the season, when I was at Fordham, after the season, we would go down and play at the local PAL of Webster Avenue in the Bronx. And at this particular time, Gus Williams, RIP, Ray Williams' brother, they were kind of getting into management at that point. And one of the guys that they managed was Chris Washburn. So we would go and, like, I would play against Chris Washburn and be, Gus would be down there, Ray would come down, a bunch of players. And the day, because I remember Washburn being in that draft. I think he was in that draft. Was he number one?
The Warriors took him.
Yeah, the Warriors took him. I remember that day. The news came down that day that Bias had died. And, I mean, I'm talking about silence. It's like the world stopped. Mm-hmm. Because everybody loved Len Bias. He was a great guy. And to think that cocaine, a drug that if you wasn't scared of it, then I don't know what's wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? But I never did any of that stuff. I'm a strictly, basketball athlete type guy. But to think that this drug could take down such a wonderful, bright, future young man, that hurt, man. It still hurts. It still hurts to this day.
It was rough. Very rough. Well, with the closing thought, bada bing, bada boom, I see in the shirt in the background. Give me, this is no time to think, bada bing, bada boom. Give me your all-time starting five, top five. Now you can build it any way you want. You can make these are the five best players or just the five best cohesive guys to put together on a team. And I will who's ready to go first?
I might go first.
Okay,
yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I'll go third. I'll go second if you need time, Los.
I need time, God,
Okay.
because man.
I got two of my guys for easily right now. They're just.
Go ahead. I'll give you
You
mine.
wanna go? Okay, I'm putting. I love Kareem's game, and
Yeah.
he's my center. I'm going with MJ, and right, this is going to get crazy. I'm going to go with because I loved his passing. I love Larry Bird too. Larry Bird, Larry Bird, and MJ. Give me Kobe.
Okay.
And do I need another big guy? Who's my big guy? I just got Kareem and can't go with Shaq because he doesn't fit in there. I'm gonna go. I guess I'll go with LeBron.
Oh,
Reluctantly.
All right. I'm gonna go Magic Johnson, my point guard. Never gonna change that.
Magic, gosh, I forgot Magic. I should have put Magic in there.
Michael Jordan at the 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Larry Bird at the 3.
I like that.
I'm gonna go Kareem at the center.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go Tim Duncan in my power forward.
I almost went with Duncan over LeBron, and I felt kind of like I had to go with LeBron, but I like your pick better. I like your picks of Duncan and Magic. Who did I have in the I had Kobe. That's right. Yeah. I don't know if Kobe and MJ play well together.
I like D. Loading says Frank got no shooting. You're right, but you know what though? Larry Bird would make all the shots when he needed to make them.
And Kareem.
Okay, my team is probably going to be the worst of the 3, and why would you say that, Los? Why would you try to get the worst team? Because talent-wise, Dan and Frank's teams are better than mine. But just when you hear my team, all 5 of my guys can play D. So, is it the best team? No, but in a 7-game series, all my guys can score and they can all play D. So my team will
let me get the crowd ready first. They're ready. They're ready.
And not necessarily help defense. One-on-one, I can man up and defend you. So my team will be Olajuwon, Jordan, Garnett, Kobe, and Gary Payton.
That's a great team.
All 5 can play D. So it's not the best team. Leaving Magic off, leaving Bird off.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But all 5 of my guys can lock you up defensively, and they can score. So
how about the Kembe? No.
Mutombo. Got to go with my guy Olajuwon.
Great show, guys. I like those teams. It's just a fun little exercise. You can argue that all night long until you're blue in the face. Everybody's going to have a little bit different take.
Wait. Time out. Deloading said Los has no offense. Jordan, Kobe, Olajuwon. Garnett can score, and Payton was an 18 to 20 point a night scorer, right?
He was. More than that.
I don't got nobody on there scoring 11, 12 points. I got offense, D-Loading. I got an offense.
Payton averaged over 20 a game in his best years.
Well, let's see what was D-Loading's team. He says his team 100% beat yours. Let's see who he's got. Let me go back up here.
Yeah, Olajuwon was at 26, 27. Jordan, 32.
MJ, LeBron, KD, Kareem.
Yeah, you have an offensive team for sure.
Yeah.
You got the names for sure.
Steph could make it at the end of his career. He could be on there. But guys, great show tonight. Thanks for joining Frank. Catch Frank on his show, In the Dungeon Show. You can catch it. It's spelled. Let's see. I think I've got it right up here. If I can find it in here, and I'll put it up there for you guys. In the Dungeon. Just kind of like. Let me see if I move the comment. Wait a minute. Hold on. Where did it go? I don't know where it went, but it's in here. ENTHA, and then dungeon, all no spaces in the dungeon. So check. Oh, here it is. Here it is. There it is. I knew it was in there. So check it out, guys. And Frank goes on Sunday nights about 9:00 Pacific time.
That is correct. And
what movie did you review the other night? I missed the show with the Super Bowl. I was on Larry's show all night.
The Brutalist.
The Brutalist.
Yeah, The Brutalist with Adrian Brody. And he's going to win Best Actor. I'm not sure that that's the best movie. It's very good. There's no doubt about it. It could win. But I think Adrian Brody is a shoo-in to win his second Oscar as Best Male Actor.
Frank, did you like the Gladiator sequel?
I did. I did like it. I think that the original Gladiator was better.
Yeah.
But I think that Gladiator 2 did not embarrass or disappoint itself. Solid movie. I thought it was good. Yeah.
Agree. Yeah, I thought it did pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, great show, guys, tonight.
All
we
right.
appreciate you being part of the show. We'll be back sometime tomorrow night, 7:45, a little Giants, not too much.
All right. And thanks for all the
Fall
follows.
Street.
I really appreciate some of the numbers are going up in my YouTube show. More people are following me on X. So thank
Awesome.
you. I appreciate y'all and can't wait until we get together again. All right.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Good to see you,
All right,
Frank.
All right,
See you,
take
Frank.
care. Good
Take
night,
care,
man.
everybody. We shall see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you guys give this show a like and subscribe. It really does help the algorithms when you like and subscribe. So enjoy the music as we check out. We'll see you tomorrow night. Probably have some videos out tomorrow. I've been under the weather a little bit, so taking it easy. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody.